welcome to the next module. In this module, we will be looking at Arctic aerosol and mechanisms, part 1. Aerosol play a vital role in the Arctic amplification, where rising temperature disproportionately affect the region. So here when we look at the Arctic amplification leads to permafrost thaw, glacial melting, which results in decline of sea ice. Aerosols are formed by ice nucleating particles. So they contribute to cloud formation, altering the region's albedo and accelerating the warming. Let us look at what are all the process or the steps involved in that. Aerosol formation involves aerosol can reflect the incoming sunlight back to the outer space. This is called a direct effect or a cooling effect. This is also one of the reason for the albedo, and then the Arctic aerosols can also absorb particles, that is basically the black carbon, which leads to increase in the warming. This leads to cloud ice formation, and this cloud ice formation has cloud's lifetime, radiative effect and the precipitation. Because the formation of cloud aerosol leads to cloud ice production. So the cloud ice have a particular lifetime and it also has radiative effect. So when we talk about radiative effect, the cloud will block the sunlight and it will diffuse the sunlight. So this is what is called the cloud albedo effect. And also cloud, when there is a possibility of precipitation. So the precipitation actually increases the water content, or in other words, this also starts melting more ice. So this is having a positive feedback. So all these things leads to Arctic amplification. In other words, Arctic amplification leads to melting of ice. Similarly, cloud formation also leads to melting of ice. So these two are interrelated to each other. Let us look at the definition of aerosol. Aerosols refer to fine, solid or liquid particles suspended in the atmosphere. They reside typically for few days to weeks before falling to the ground or being washed out by rain or snow. Aerosol particles are very small in size. They are microscopic in nature, and they are basically composed of dust, soot and sea spray. They are suspended in the air and are mostly poorly understood component of Earth's atmosphere, because we have also earlier seen in the albedo effect. Cloud albedo is a very complicated and the difficult process to understand and calculate. They are often hardly visible to the human eye, but their impact on the climate, weather, health and ecology are very important. Of course, aerosols are the major components in the Arctic air system. So they play a vital role in the radiative balance and can be from the local or from the remote sources. Aerosol can be formed within Arctic region, or they may be transported from other region to Arctic region. They may be primary or secondary in origin, and they may also be produced by the anthropogenic activities, that is the industrial activities, traffic and agricultural, from near Arctic and far Arctic places, or they may also be naturally produced like wind blown dust or snow, sea spray and wildfires. How do we know aerosols are actually present and how do they affect the Arctic climate? So the multidisciplinary drifting observatory for the study of Arctic climate, called the Mosaic expedition, is a very important one. Here aerosol can directly affect radiative transfer by absorbing or scattering incoming radiation, that is what is called aerosol radiation interaction, or ARI, or they can interactly by modulating cloud radiative properties through aerosol cloud interactions. Both of these processes are poorly understood. In fact, local process or short regional extreme events may not always be captured at Arctic land-based stations. So this is also another major problem in understanding the aerosol formation and how they affect the climate. Of course, the local scarcity of aerosol observation in the central Arctic Ocean, especially during the dark winter and the early springtime, was a key motivation for the international observation, which led to the multidisciplinary drifting observatory for the study of Arctic climate, or the Mosaic expedition, because people cannot go to the central Arctic Ocean and measure how much clouds are present and other things. So people went with the air based model, that is the mosaic or the satellite expedition they have explored. Here is the chart which explains how the overall aerosol effect on the Arctic climate. When the cloud is there, they block the solar radiation, and some of the solar radiation is reflected back to the upper atmosphere, and some of the sunlight is directly coming, and when the long range transported aerosols are present, they also absorb some of the solar radiation and they will also reflect it back. And of course, sea spray also produces aerosol. So these are all the different types of aerosol that are present in the Arctic region. And we also have secondary aerosol which are formed by many chemical reactions. We will be looking at some of the chemical reactions what are responsible for the secondary aerosol formation in this module. And when the cloud is formed, that leads to precipitation. So the precipitation leads to melting of ice, and sea salt aerosol and other aerosol types are also present just in the atmosphere above the sea level. And when the cloud is present, they will be doing the downwelling long wave radiation. That means they will block the radiation which is escaping from the earth, and they will just send it back to the earth. And some of the things are also due to surface radiation. And the top of the ocean is covered with a thick layer of snow is covered, and just below that sea ice layer is also present. And when the sea sprays are formed, they are actually leading to the upward migration of aerosol particles. Let us look at the cloud formation, schematic representation of how the cloud is formed. So the cloud formation requires presence of aerosols. Once the aerosols are present, the aerosols are immersed in the cloud droplets, and this leads to freezing which occurs under optimal conditions, and the freezing of aerosol particle is called as immersion ice nucleating particles. So these ice nucleating particles, when they are super cooled at the liquid temperature around minus 38 degrees C, that leads to the cloud formation. So this is the overall process by which aerosol is getting converted to cloud. Let us look at the different types of Arctic ice nucleating particles. We can broadly classify them into two major categories. One is called the mineral material, another one is the biological material. In the mineral materials, we have glacial dust, permafrost and vegetation, and in the biological material they may be formed from the land or from the ocean. So when we talk about the land, we have actually the glacial dust again, and permafrost and vegetation, they also belong to the land one. And when we talk about the ocean, sea spray and biological productivity from various animals leads to ice nucleating particle or the aerosols in the Arctic region. Let us look at the aerosol formation. This atmospheric aerosol actually formed from two different reactions. So we can say pathway 1 or pathway 2. Here the first one is direct emission of primary aerosols into the atmosphere. So it is directly formed. For example, dust, sea salt, organic carbon and black carbon are some of the sources of aerosols. And the second one is by the formation of secondary aerosols via atmospheric chemical reaction. These reactions include reactions of sulfates, nitrate, ammonium and SOA. While the black carbon along with the sulfate, nitrate and ammonium has anthropogenic sources, that means human produced sources like incomplete combustion of biomass and biofossil fuel, sea salt, dust and primary biological aerosols are naturally produced in the atmosphere. Let us look at the major type of primary aerosols. The primary aerosol can be divided into inorganic and organic components. Inorganic aerosols typically are larger than 1 micrometers and they come from sea spray, mineral dust and volcanoes. These are having coarse aerosols and have a short atmospheric lifetime, typically only a few days. And when we talk about the organic component, they are smaller than 1 micrometers, because compared to the inorganic one, these are much smaller. They are produced by the combustion process of fossil fuels, wood, biomass burning or plant microbial materials. These are all the main sources for the carbonaceous aerosols. They include organic carbon and the black carbon. Black carbon is the main anthropogenic light absorbing constituent present in the aerosol. Its main source are combustion of fossil fuels. Let us look at the formation of secondary aerosols. These are formed by the formation of chemical reactions in the atmosphere. Some of the reactions may be condensation of vapors on pre-existing particles or by nucleation of new particles. They are very small in size and their size ranges from nanometers up to 1 micrometer, and they have a lifetime of few days to weeks. These aerosols consist of mixture of compounds. The main components are sulfate, nitrate and organic carbon. The main precursor gases are emitted from the fossil fuel combustion, but fires and biogenic emissions of volatile organic compounds are also important for the formation of secondary aerosols. Occasionally, volcanic eruptions, especially in Iceland and nearby regions, release huge amounts of primary and secondary aerosols both at the ground and in the stratosphere. These reactions include formation of ammonium, non-sea salt sulfates, nitrates and secondary organic aerosol particles. From ammonia, sulfur-containing gases such as sulfur oxides, nitrogen oxides and volatile organic compounds. These are from the biogenic and anthropogenic origins.